The first question is, why do people often cry and laugh during meditation? There's another supplementary question to it, Guruji. And the question is, it is often seen that in meditation some people cry. It is also true that some people laugh. Some people may also dream. In meditation, is it possible that some people talk? In meditation, why is it that half of the time when people are in meditation, they don't even know or even realize that they are making those special movements or are crying?
It is because the influence of Shakti during meditation.
There is one more question. During meditation, sometimes we have totally absurd visions, whereas sometimes the mind goes totally blank. Why so?
When we meditate in a group, then the energy emanated out of each individual and the frequency of it is not the same. It is individually relative. When relative in this way, then all the activities too associated with that individual becomes individual relative. One is sitting and is crying very relentlessly. And the person sitting next to him, he is laughing vehemently. At a distance, someone is doing some asana or some pranayam. These occurrences do take place in accordance with the Shakti individual relativity. Most of the time we live very artificially, very dramatically in day-to-day life. In our practical life, when we are hurt, we of course get hurt sometimes. That moment, the emotions within us ask us to cry. But owing to several social and domestic factors, we tend to halt this outburst. We suppress that emotion. We suppress it because our mind, intellect and consciousness ask us to do so. We suppress our crying, suppress our laughter as well. Supposingly elders are sitting, and supposingly some absurd question is asked, and the reply that comes in is very ridiculous. But you cannot say anything because of the presence of the elderly. So the laughter is also suppressed. Why? Because according to the mind, intellect and consciousness, the protocol bans us to laugh in an assembly like this. Likewise, crying too is unacceptable in such an assembly. So the separation of these emotions are done by our mind, intellect, ego and consciousness. And these suppressed emotions keep storing up in our subconscious mind. When you are requisitioned by power, then the power acts in full control. Then the mind, intellect and ego has no control over your conscience. They are simply left alone. No control of theirs is felt over your body, is felt over your thought pattern, is felt over your mode of conduct. It is totally lost. And then that Shakti which has taken the control starts bringing on the surface those emotions and sacraments which had long been suppressed by us. If it is some despair or frustration, or if it is some grief which was suppressed by you for a long period of time, if they come to surface, then the person starts crying. He meditates and cries, failing to understand how come he is doing that in front of so many people. The Shakti makes him do so, and unless his crying is completely not over, he keeps on crying. Similarly, the person sitting next to him, he seems to have suppressed his laughter. So this Shakti makes his joy show on surface and makes him laugh for hours and hours. Similarly, someone at a distance is performing asanas, simply because his inner requirements of purification of his body demands those asanas, and the Shakti makes him do those asanas and pranayams. So it is his relative sacraments which is showing up in form of asanas and pranayams. You can see a man as big as Ganapati is performing Mayurasana. You say one has to be very lean to perform this asana, that too after months of practice. But here the Shakti plays its role. A person who is very hefty cannot touch the ground with his forehead but is performing this asana. Very difficult asanas are being performed by him. After the meditation is over, ask the person to re-perform those postures, he would simply say he cannot. Because he himself did not do those asanas. His mind, intellect and ego did not do that. You must have seen in yoga classes, you perform yoga with your active mind, intellect, consciousness and ego. And after a lots of practice, you learn those postures and start performing them. You have trained your mind, intellect and consciousness in such a way, then only you have been able to master them. But during meditation, in a natural condition, this Shakti makes you perform that. Mind, intellect, conscience has no role in it. If you need to turn your body, it will make you turn that way. At that time, in your order, your conscious order, the order which makes things go inside you, it brings so many swift changes inside you, you will be astonished to see. The hand which is difficult to even move starts moving. And not only that, it starts moving in 360 degrees. This is the neck, which is supposed to move at 90 degrees this way and 90 degrees this way. It would start moving as if it would detach itself and fall down. But without getting detached, it keeps moving. The person starts to jump as if he is performing the frog act. He is sitting, for that even he needs support. He suddenly starts jumping like a frog. Ask him after meditation is over why he was jumping like a frog. He would simply reply, "You must be joking. I need support even to stand up. How could I do the frog act?" But he did it while meditating and people saw it. So all these activities governed by Shakti, they are so natural. Mind, consciousness, intellect and body, the entire state of being, our nervous system, everything is under control of Shakti. That's why all activities happen during meditation. The moment it is over, you fail to perform these activities. If needed, they can happen in another session. But if you try to do it on your own, it's not possible. Himanshu, where were you?
Yes, Guruji. Guruji, please tell us that in meditation, why is it that when people are meditating, they don't even know or even realize that they are making those special movements?
No, since these are under the influence of Shakti, mind, intellect, consciousness does not record it. What is happening with them? If there is a recorder, then only the things can be recorded. You didn't put carbon, so you won't be getting the OC or you won't be getting the CC. Mind, intellect and consciousness cease to function, therefore no recording happens. Of course, there are some who are aware. That awareness is not internal only, it is external as well. So these people do have some feel of it, but since the inner awareness is full, they fail to realize what is happening outside. No recording takes place.
And Guruji, another question that was asked was about those absurd thoughts.
Now see, it's a very simple thing. Only those things would come out what you kept inside your storeroom. We must have gone through some absurd thinking sometimes. So those things have not been recorded outside. They have been stored inside only. And given a chance, they pop out. Sometimes even gentlemen commit heinous act. Why they do that? Even persons who we know as a thorough classified gentleman, even that person too can commit a crime like murder. Why does it happen? It is suppressed sacrament that becomes so strong that it cripples the mind, intellect and consciousness and surfaces itself. Then this sort of things take place.
Guruji, I want to ask mind, intellect.
Just a minute. Is it related to that one only?
Yes, Guruji.
Okay.
Mind, intellect and understanding, they are not organs. So are they somehow related to our thoughts?
Amma, you know what exactly it is? Consciousness, whatever sacraments it has, it acts in accordance with that only. Keeping itself neutral, it makes sacraments act. Got my point? It's like we make jalebis at our place. Now water would only be water. We put some powder in it. We mix it and thereafter we keep the mixture in our fridge. We add red color to that, it becomes red. Isn't it? Add yellow color, it will become yellow. The medium which you have used, that water is neutral. The water you have put the mixtures in, it has no color of its own. Whatever color you add to it, it changes into that color. Water has no color of its own. Likewise, the consciousness is unqualified and formless without any color of its own. So it takes the appearance of the sacraments it has. Just take for an example. You have a mirror here. Just wave your chunni in front of it. Doesn't it look red? Is that mirror red? No. Mirror is neutral. Since your chunni is moving like this, it is only showing its color. Remove the chunni, it would be as it is. Before the mirror, if I make my face like this, so as long as I'm doing it, I'll be seen in it. The moment I'm out, it's empty. Got my point? Consciousness does nothing of its own. It is neutral. It just acts like a catalyst. And what does a catalyst do? It just incites the action without being a part of it. Similarly, consciousness is not a party to action. Action happens according to your deeds and sacraments. And why the things happen? Because it is there. The absence of consciousness would make your sacraments fail to act. This is why human body is significantly great. Even gods wish to take birth as human. You know why? Because they don't have that body. The body which has and through which we can enjoy all the fruits of life. Therefore, gods too want to be born in human form. This is why all the incarnations have taken place. And every incarnation has happened in human form only. All the incarnations we have, they happened in human form only. No incarnation has happened in any divine body or God form. Baba Nanak came in human form. Lord Krishna came in human form. Lord Ram too came in human form. Jesus Christ came in human form. Moses too incarnated in human form. The divine form does nothing on its own. So even if one is adorned with the divine body, one has got very divinely timed resources. In this body, one can get emancipated in 3 years. It may take 9 years. It may take 6 years even. But one gets a divine body through immense ascetic fervor without any guarantee of duration whatsoever. Because the do-how there is slow. The do-how of this human body is fast. It's fast-paced. That is why human form is important.
Guruji, the next question is, what is the right method to meditate? How are we introduced to our inner soul?
See, you don't really need an introduction to your inner soul because it is your own self. You get introduced to others. You don't get introduced to yourself because you are already introduced to yourself. And this introduction to yourself enables you to understand others. If this rationality is absent, you won't be able to understand anything, be it any person, be it anything. This proximate is your inner soul to you. Nothing else is so close to you. This inner soul of yours is Guru Tattva, it's your Guru, it's Vaheguru, it's Baba Nanak, it's Baba Nityanand, it's Baba Muktanand. What was another question?
What is the right method to meditate?
Yes, what is the right method to meditate? See, everyone meditates. I haven't seen any living being who does not do meditation. Haven't come across. Everyone is meditating. Everyone is meditating one's own topic. Meditating oblivious of everything. And this is how you meditate. This is the easiest and the simplest method. You put it in reverse gear and execute it. The moment you neutralize and apply the reverse gear, your inner journey begins. With the opening of eyes starts our outside journey, and it remains so till our eyes are closed. Once who wittingly halted the outer journey and took to inner journey, only they are the witness to that. This is why you don't have to be taught meditation. You already know this. The moment you are distracted, the things go awry. Instead of vegetables, you cut your fingers. One gets sucked into machine while running it. You are distracted. All of you meditate, maybe about others, not about you. Only here you have to be neutral and concentrate upon the entire emotions of ours, directing them inwards. This is the method to meditate. And the simplest and easiest way is the breath we are born with. After exhaling it, if we fail to inhale it, our life there comes to an end. And this is the only thing which is the closest friend of ours. The best friend of ours is our breath. Unfortunately, we breathe for years and years, and don't realize what exactly it is. Now let us look closer at this. Now you will see, just hold a piece of thread with your fingers here. To the extent it is moving, the point where it stops moving, there only starts your breath. So moving from this point, spherically our breath moves inside us. The breath that is going inside is cold. It pauses here for a while. This is the spiritual heart here. I am placing my finger here. Here two things are taking place simultaneously. The breath along with it is taking inside the vital force as well as the oxygen gas. And this is the very point where it gets bifurcated. And this breath containing the life element reaches your lungs and is reached to rest of your body. And this breath takes you into state of meditation. Since you are associated with a breath, breathing along with it, you are in a state of no thought, you are in a state of no option. It is like a momentary state of trance, a changeable trance. As long as you are associated with your breath and you as a viewer are viewing your breath, no thought or conduct would influence your being. This is a neutral state, this is a no thought state, and here you start moving in and out with your breath by the virtue of being a viewer. And this is when a revolution is started inside you. The force that is dormant becomes active, and the force that after getting active starts spreading in your body. And this is the force which is conducive in the activation of the Kundalini. This is the easiest and easily available method to everyone. If you are consecrated by any guru and have any particular mantra, then attach this mantra to your breath, like Guru Om, like Soham, Hans, or any other mantra. So get the mantra inhaled with your breath, and with the same intensity, exhale it. So if this mantra gets connected to your breath, and if it is naturally connected, then starts your process of meditation. For 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do the chanting with your breath. If there occurs any break in chanting, don't bother, let it go. Platform is only needed to catch the train. The running train has no importance of the platform. So you decide you want to board the train or keep standing on the platform. If you are already in the train, then you must stop thinking of the platform. And if you are standing on the platform, then stop thinking of the train. If you are on platform, train has arrived, stop thinking of platform, board the train. If chanting is going on, then let it continue. And if it stops, just banish it, no need to cling to it. Just get connected to your breath. Whatever happens thereafter is beyond mind, intellect and consciousness. And whatever happens is subject to Shakti. And you experience this by yourself reaching the peak.
In response to the question, what is the right method of meditation, Guruji is repeating what he said yesterday, that there is a close correlation between identification with our breathing and state of thoughtlessness. The day we realize that state of thoughtlessness, a silent revolution happens within us, and in that state of revolution, the Kundalini Shakti is awakened, and that sets in the motion of process of meditation. Beyond that, the awakened Shakti in itself takes care of the process of meditation, and you have to be just an observer. Guruji, the next question is, how do you define God? There's another question related to it. If God created us, what is the power that created God? And what is the power that created that? Is there an answer to this never-ending question?
To define God, everything depends upon the fact how you define yourself. I told you even yesterday, I told you he has no email address. He doesn't have any visiting card. He doesn't even have any type of visa as well. Neither he has any type of passport of any country. He doesn't care about such things. He doesn't bother. He does not need them. His existence does not depend upon us. He just exists, and because of him, we exist. Our existence is his will, his desire. Therefore, he has no definition. Whomsoever has ever tried to define him has failed to do it perfectly. And an imperfect definition cannot define any perfection. So whatever is word is not element, and the element is not word. Words are evolved from the element. Elements are not evolved from the words. My Bade Baba has said it very beautifully. He used to say, खोपड़ी से चोपड़ी होती है, चोपड़ी से खोपड़ी नहीं होती. Sant Kabir has put his experiences in his poetries. He never went to any university for his education, but he is being studied in every university. Knowledge in itself is perfect and complete in itself. It does not need any certificate to prove itself. It doesn't need any explanation.
The next question is meditation a science or spirituality?
You will see there is no difference at all. Both are the same things. Your education process, it is based on science, and it has been proven scientifically. And this proving in itself is a manifestation of knowledge. And now the spiritual knowledge. The laboratory of it is your body. And whatever experiment you do outside you is external laboratory. Those who are experimenting in external lab, they too are searching for the supreme power in their own way, using their mind, their intellect, and their consciousness. They are searching for that supreme element. And those who we call visionaries, great men, who are men of experience, they have experienced this very supreme element inside themselves. They have felt it. They have felt the truth of it. That too is a science. Outside is also science, which is really experimental. It's active. Its experiments are still going on. Its activity is still continuing. Accomplishing life, the accomplisher himself is accomplished. He has nothing left to accomplish. One who realized himself realized everything. Nothing remains for him to realize. He is associated with the element, and he feels that he himself is element, and he remains as the element itself. Whatever experiments are done outside, keeping ourselves aside, we do it by means of different objects. You must be knowing about Dr. Stephen Hawking of England. You must have seen him too. Every time, the image of Ashtavakra comes into my mind whenever I see him. Ashtavakra Rishi, he was a very great man. One of his disciples was Janakji. But his body was deformed from 8 sides. Dr. Stephen Hawking too has only this much portion in working condition. Rest of his body always remains inactive. He keeps sitting on his wheelchair. And whatever devices or computer is attached with his hand, he speaks with that only. He gave us a very famous book, History of Time. And he has tried to propound a theory in this very book, string theory. And while propounding this string theory, he admits that consciousness is a dimension too, because of which all these things are working. Now the scientists, those who are working in present time, amongst them is this gentleman, Dr. Stephen Hawking, who also got the Nobel Prize. So reaching up to here, he strongly has to say that consciousness too is a dimension. Einstein too used to say this very thing. Only one thing he used to say. I don't know how many people could get his point. Where the Western philosophy comes to an end, starts the Eastern mythology. Now every scientist is concentrating upon this new consciousness dimension. They are admitting this too. So, those who are in spiritual practices, ascetics, saints, or great men, they have experienced this very consciousness dimension. And scientists too have started admitting to this. So, this much is the difference between science and spirituality. One is speaking of experience, another says he is yet to experience it. This is the only difference between them.
Guruji is identifying that key difference between science and spirituality is that science proves things through experiments, while in spirituality we experience the totality ourselves and we become the principle itself. And there is no difference between the principle and the experiment. We become the principle, we become the laboratory, we become the experiment, and in totality we experience, and so in totality there is no doubt left after having that experience of completeness.
You must have heard few months ago, 8 or 10 months ago, in the mountains between France and Switzerland, scientists had constructed a big lab, very big indeed, covering miles and miles. They came up with an experiment to find out where the Big Bang happened. And if it happened, then what exactly happened at that moment? To know this, they have been experimenting for the last 12 to 15 years. And the final experiment that took place 8 to 10 months ago, you must have seen on television. What happened after that moment? They are still experimenting on that. Maybe by 2010 or 2012, they will be doing more experiments. Now the experiments done and the ones yet to be done, the outcome of these has already been experienced by our holy men. Be it Jesus Christ or Muhammad Paighambar, be it Buddha or Guru Nanak Dev, or be it Tirthankar Mahavir, all these great men have already experienced this in themselves. And they have, in the form of symbols, infused this in their work and literature. Symbols always are in coding. They always have to be decoded.
Guruji, the next question is, what is the role of Kirtan, Aartis and recitation in spirituality?
Kirtan, Aarti and the psalms which we have, the chanting of mantras which we have. One story I am going to tell you. We have many people from Sikh community here. Baba Nanak once reached Sri Lanka wandering. So after he reached there, he had only one thing to do. He stayed in Dharamshala and indulged in some satsang with people around. Bala Mardana used to stay with him, used to play rabab and do the Sankirtan. So whatever question was asked, they noted down the answers given by Baba Nanak. And thus a Granth was completed. The name of it is Pran Sangli. Now tell me, how many of you are aware of this? That Baba Nanak has a Granth with the name of Pran Sangli. Pran Sangli is a book written by Baba Nanak. It is a complete book on yoga philosophy. But Baba Nanak knew it well that none of the ones sitting here are yogis. So he never ever discussed yoga in his sangats. Rather, he stressed more upon Sankirtan. That's a boon in Kali Yuga. Sankirtan can reach you to the God. The greatness of Sankirtan, the greatness of Aarti, the greatness of bhajans is such that if performed with intense devotion, can reach you to the state of thoughtlessness. And if this state of thoughtlessness continues for 1.5 or 2 hours, then your yoga has already triggered off. No effort is to be put in that. This is a yoga done without any effort. And this yoga which is done without any effort, this is which we know as Sankirtan in Kali Yuga. This is why Sankirtan is done in Gurdwaras. And during this, if we don't get into thoughtless state of mind, then we are not Sikhs. We bring our domestic problems in Gurdwaras. Then we spread them out and then keep picking them up. Once the kirtan is over, we just go back to our places and get into those problems again. Now what would Gurdwara do? What would Granth Sahib do? And what even Baba Nanak would do? We don't go there sincerely, we don't listen carefully, and we never ever surrender completely. That is why our achievement gets delayed. It is our darkness that stops us from light. Our light is hindered by our darkness itself. Let the light spread out, the darkness will itself perish. So, the gift of Kali Yuga is the Sant Kirtan. Let me take you further with the story. So, Baba Nanak completed this Granth. Now, when he was about to leave Lanka, he told the king, one of his disciples, "See, I am going from here. Whatever I taught you, continue doing that. I will be sending someone here. Give him a copy of this book." The fifth Guru, when the fifth Guru, Arjun Dev Ji Maharaj, when he was compiling Guru Granth Sahib, then Baba ordered him to fetch the book, saying it was there in Lanka. So he sent one of his disciples to Sri Lanka. He searched for the king's family and said that my Guruji has sent me down here. And he was clearly instructed that when this book was written, his second copy was also made. Now here this book was kept in the royal library with special regard. And there was a note inscribed below. Whenever any disciple of Baba comes, give him the book immediately. So Guru Arjun Dev sent one of his disciples to Sri Lanka and asked him to get a copy of that book. So the king, who was descendant of that king, as soon as he got to know this, he took the book and gave it to him. So this Pran Sangli Granth came down to Amritsar. Then the Pancham Padshai, Guru Arjun Dev Maharaj Ji, went through this book. After reading the book, he felt that for this present time, this book is not useful. But at the same time, he also felt this, that it's a Granth of our Adi Guru. We cannot leave it like this. So he extracted certain selective teachings from the book and assimilated them in Guru Granth Sahib. So few extracts of Pran Sangli find a place here and there in Guru Granth Sahib. So if you ever wish to go through Pran Sangli, so whenever you go to Amritsar, in Gurumukhi language this Granth is available. You can read it. So Baba Nanak, he was a great yogi, he was a great devotee and was also a great master of Tantra. You might not be aware of these things. So whatever he gave to Sikhs as the most precious gift, that is Sant Kirtan. He knew the significance of time. He was a Kal Purush, a person beyond the time who had mastered it. And so he gave the congregation the power of Sant Kirtan. With conviction he vouched that I am proved with Sant Kirtan. I have achieved it. You too can achieve it without fail. He gave a sort of guarantee card with Sant Kirtan. One who sincerely, with love, compassion and devotion, will do Sant Kirtan, he will attain happiness in this world as well as in that world. And this is the reason why in Kali Yuga Aarti and Sant Kirtan is so effective. Yoga can be proved with grace. If you are blessed with this grace, then yoga becomes very easy and simple for you. This is why this yoga is known as Sahaj Yoga. This is known as Siddhi Yoga, which gets activated only with his blessings. It also proves your being, and that gets dissolved inside yourself only. But those who are not adorned with this grace, those who don't have this blessing, with the help of this Sant Kirtan, your mental state, your level of consciousness, whatever resources you have, to receive that grace and blessing, to procure that grace and blessing, become ready. So don't get disheartened. Whatever level you are on, whatever time it may be or you are in, the Indian philosophy which we have, and all the methods of devotion, they have offered you the lift from that very point where you are standing. The path starts right from where you are standing. A new journey starts right from where you are standing. So don't feel miserable. Don't get disheartened. You will fly with whatever you are doing. Just attain yourself. Always remain happy and shower happiness.
The next question, Guruji, is what is the relation between Mata Tripura Sundari and Sri Yantra? Why are they worshipped with kumkum and not with haldi or other things?
Sri Yantra is the material form of Mata Tripura Sundari. Between Sri Yantra and Mata Tripura Sundari, there is no difference. Both are non-dual, they are monistic. Unless and until you feel its quality and form and qualitylessness and formlessness, the Sri Yantra and Mata Tripura Sundari would appear dual to you. This is a way to eliminate this duality only, a shift from Sagun Sakar worship to Nirgun Nirakar worship. Why is only kumkum used in worship? It's a very big question. There is a science behind it. So I would mention a part of science here over. Few facts could not be mentioned here since you are not ready yet to accept them. So I will wind up there. In our body we have two vessels, Ida and Pingla. Surya Nadi and Chandra Nadi, they are known as. They symbolize something. Chandra symbolizes water, Surya symbolizes fire. You must be aware of Yagya Yoga. So there is a fire pit which symbolizes moon, and the fire here is the symbol of sun. The burning of the fire takes place in the fire pit, and after the attainment of purpose, it is extinguished too in that pit itself. Similarly, you must have seen Shivling also. Later on, Yagya tradition got weakened after the second war of Mahabharata, and those sages who were acquainted with the science of Yagya, they, following the rule of nature, left for their heavenly abode, leaving no one to succeed them. Some treaties too had to face devaluation. Certain materials also became unavailable since they were quite expensive, and in early days only kings and financially well-off people could afford it. But the sages, keeping intact the old tradition of Yagya, used them as symbols, devised a new method of Abhishek. So the Abhishek Pranali and this Yagya has no difference at all. Abhishek is done on Shivling. Shivling here again symbolizes fire. And this Jaladhari is a symbol of the Yagya Kund. The fire is held in the Yagya Kund only. Similarly, the Shivling is held in Jaladhari only. You must have seen and noticed all the nuclear reactors. They are designed on this very pattern. You know, the Shivling is not circumambulated fully. Only half orbiting is done. And the scientists sitting here over, they all are quite aware of radiation. There is heavy water, which is formed by the rays only, which is not crossed over, just to avoid the risk of radiation. This is why when the Shivling is anointed, the water is flown out. And the way the Shivling is orbited, it goes like this and it comes back like this. Whatever we offer to the Shivling and whatever stuff is accumulated after the Abhishek, that according to your nuclear science is heavy water. Whatever thing you are offering, it is a thing until that only. After the offering, whatever comes here, in that the entire attribute of that Shivling is assimilated in that. That is why it is taken as prasad. Now here comes the same question. Why is Sri Yantra anointed with kumkum only? Kumkum is actually a mixture of lime and turmeric. Lime is white in color and it symbolizes moon. The turmeric is yellow and it symbolizes the fire, the sun. When they mix together, they give the red color. Now, the next question is really associated with this. This is related to Tantra Shastra. This entire creation is a union of Raj and Shukra. Shukra is moon and Raj, that is semen, is fire. When they both get united, only then the creation takes place. And this is why Sri Yantra, symbolizing the same process, is anointed only with kumkum. The monist point of Shiva and Shakti is the middle point of Sri Yantra. Moon and the sun, the merging point of it is the same point. The moon and the sun in the monist form manifest in that point. And this is why the Sri Yantra is worshipped by kumkum. This much I think would be sufficient.
Guruji, the last question. This is a letter that has come in English. Can I ask?
Yes, you can ask the question in English.
Dear Guruji, can you please share your spiritual insight on the current concern over the year 2012? Mayan calendar points out to 2012 as an end of an era. Other prophecies also make predictions about 2012, etc.
2012, you will come to know and experience it as well, that you will live through the year. Whatever is being said, many things like this do come up from time to time. But whatever has been said in earlier centuries, nothing of that sort has ever happened till now. If we understand the creation of this world, till the time the sun is shining there, nothing can ever happen to our earth. Whatever we see as significant changes on earth, all those are quite natural. These are only reactions to our actions. The way we have misused the natural resources, in the reaction of it, whatever changes we are coming across, that is only an outcome of our deed. The very first blunder which we did was that we forgot that we are part of nature. See, we have always tried to overpower the nature. But since we too are the part of the nature, we cannot ever overpower the nature. Of course, the nature can overpower us. Who is free from the nature? Only the person who is independent and who is composed in himself, only he is free. But even he too respects the limit of nature. He does not misuse the nature only because he is free from the nature. They have taken birth in this nature. This nature has given them the physical form. This body helped them to acquire powers. Even his entire being is proved. But in spite of this, they don't cure any ailment of their body themselves. But in spite of all this, like we have got this body from the nature, and you cannot rule out different ailments and different diseases, they can of course exercise control over these things. They can immune themselves from these things. But they prefer to remain inside the limits of the nature. They continue to live with those things. In this world, in present time, many great men have born. Ramakrishna Paramhans suffered from cancer. He of course could have cured the cancer because he had so many powers. But in spite of being so potent, he preferred not to interfere with the nature. Swami Vivekananda passed away only when he was 39 years old. 39 years. When he died, he had 54 ailments. But he never interfered into this. Raman Maharshi, in himself, he was a very great man. Only at the age of 17, he had acquired many powers. Yes, and when he passed away, he was almost 80 or 85 years of age. He too suffered from cancer. Of course, and now I'm going to tell you a very new thing. Yadu Krishnamurti, he went around the entire world. He too was suffering from cancer. He too was adorned with those powers. He too could have cured his cancer himself. But he too did not interfere with the nature. All the great souls, they have full respect for the body and the powers which they have. And very thankfully and very respectfully, they leave their body. Humans are such a being that whatever they have been provided with, they have never been thankful for those things. We are not normal human beings. We are animals. I am talking of man as animals. Man is such an animal who in spite of getting everything is never thankful to God. We keep complaining everywhere for the things which we have really failed to get. We go to temples with those complaints. We go to gurdwaras with those complaints. We go to churches with those complaints. So there is no thanksgiving for what we have got, but there are complaints for what we don't have. You just tell me a small kid is asking for a knife. Now why would his mother give it to him? She knows he is not capable of using that knife. So why would she give him? Whatever you have not been given, this simply means your mother is aware that you don't really need it. See what happens most of the time. As I told you earlier, what we know as Jagat Janni, she knows what is to be given to whom. And who exactly is in need, he is given, and who is not in need, he is not given. Those things are not given which are not needed at all. Whatever we wish for, our aspirations, our hope, etc., that is related to our mind, intellect and consciousness. Our mind is never satiated, our consciousness is never satiated, our intellect is never satiated. They are always at unrest, and unrest here means to always keep asking. That's it. In 2012, you will see, you will experience, nothing is going to happen. In fact, you should enjoy 2012 and 2013. Sadhguru Nath Maharaj ki jai.